Here's how this works. Water, salt, and pepper, those are freebies. Your pantry, it better have flour, oil, vinegar, mustard, and garlic. Beyond that, you'll only need 5 more ingredients and 25 minutes to put an entree or entire meal on the table. So, shop, set the clock, and let's dish out. This week we'll be using some French bread. About a 12 or 14 inch loaf will do just fine for 2 servings. About a pound of ground beef. I'm using 85-15, but you could go 80-20 for an even richer final product. We'll of course need some cheese and a tomato, followed by a yellow or white onion. All of our ingredients are in hand, so let's get started. First up, we're going to do all of our prep work, which is of course very minimal, being 5 and 25. We'll slice off 5 or 6 nice thin slices of our tomato, set those aside, and turn our attention to the onion. Go ahead and cut the top off, and as thinly as you possibly can, and a good sharp knife here does do a good job, but a mandolin would be even better. We're going to cut a few really nice paper thin slices of onion and separate those rings. Alright. Prep work's done, let's form our patties. Go ahead and turn your beef out onto a plate. Form it into 2 half-pound balls. It's all going to get incorporated together in the end, but it's easier to work with in the pan if you do form it into patties. Go ahead and smush those out into oblong patties. We want them to be about maybe ½ an inch thick or slightly thinner. They are of course going to plump up in the pan or shrink up as the fat renders out. Alright, a little fat to get started. Tablespoon of olive oil into a skillet over medium-high heat. Add in your patties. The simplicity of this dish is in the technique. We've got to get a nice crust on the outside of these patties, and we want a nice black pepper and salty bite as well, so season them generously. And add your onions into any exposed parts of the skillet. And just let that rip for about 5 or 6 minutes. You can see the patties will start to render the fat, cooking the onions. After a few minutes, go ahead and give them a flip. Go ahead and smush those onions around a little bit as well, flip them around, make sure they're all cooking and caramelizing nicely. And now we're going to smash these, kind of like a smash burger. Don't worry, it's still going to be super moist and juicy at the end. We just want to get a nice, thin, crispy crust on them. And then after 3 to 4 more minutes, we're going to put the chop in the chopped cheese. Just go ahead and chop them up into bite-sized chunks. Work everything together, get those onions involved as well. It's okay if you chop them up too, get them mixed in with the beef. And now bring the cheese to the party. Go ahead and lay the cheese down into a couple rows. Each row is going to end up forming 1/2 of our sandwich. And kill the heat. We've got enough in there to melt the cheese. I've got that bread here. You can see I've scooped a little bit out of the top and bottom so that it'll be easier to fold and it won't be so bready. We'll grab a little Dijon from the fridge and add that. And then generously mound in all of your beef, onions, and melty cheese. This thing is a mouthful, but man is it tasty. With all of our beef and cheese and onions in place, I'm going to add down the sliced tomatoes from earlier, and honestly, you can go crazy with toppings here. Mayonnaise, pickles, ketchup, mustard. For me, I'm cheating with just one extra ingredient, being a little lettuce. Got to have that nice green pop for the thumbnail on YouTube, of course, but again, whatever toppings you like on a cheeseburger or Philly cheesesteak would be perfect here. The final step, and this is optional, is to take a little bit of aluminum foil, nice roll there, and really tightly wrap this up so that we get all those ingredients tucked into that warm roll. Again, you don't have to do this, but definitely makes the sandwich hold together a little better when you're trying to eat it. Once she's all wrapped up, we gotta go in for the cross section, and brace yourselves. Oh yeah. It's like a Philly cheesesteak and a cheeseburger had a kid. A very tasty kid. Serve this up with whatever you like or eat it on its own. I'm throwing down a few salt and vinegar chips for my dinner here because, as always, I'm actually eating this for my dinner. And, you know, it's a great dish for those days when you're in a sweatshirt and, man, you just want something tasty, nothing fancy. Oh, man, it's super satisfying. Again, all the best parts of a burger, but in a sandwich, super juicy. That crust on the outside of the meat makes it super flavorful. That melty cheese holds everything together. Like I said, I go crazy with the toppings. I kept mine pretty simple today because this is 5 and 25, but even so, it was really tasty. Hope you'll give this a try and let me know what you think. Subscribe, like, and comment down below. And as always, go make something delicious.